Welcome everybody to another episode of Ganbei. I'm your host, Art, and today we have the pleasure of being joined by Lishuang Chen. Lishuang is founder and CEO of A&J Consulting International. Welcome, Lishuang.
Hello everybody, and thank you for your invitation. My honor to be here.
We're going to talk about Chinese businesses going outbound, in particular to India, which is what Lishuang's business focuses on. So Lishuang, can you tell the folks at home a little bit about your background and what got you interested in doing this business?
Yes, and my founder and me, we started this company last year, and we focus on Sino-India mostly, but we also do international, like global business, like to settle down in India or China or outbound as well.
Right. How about your personal story? Like, what is it about maybe your education or how you grew up? What is it about your background that draws you to this?
Actually, I come from one very entrepreneurial-oriented city called Wenzhou.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, there's a reputation for being
Yes.
entrepreneurial. Yeah.
So everybody's doing like business. I think some people they think Wenzhou people only can do very traditional business, but for my generation, I have the responsibility to doing something new and meaningful things as well. It will be easier for everybody doing business in the future. That's why I want to do this.
So for the companies that are going to India, do they tend to be more manufacturing companies or consumer product companies just selling into the market?
Actually, for the clients we had last year, we have all of them like covered by all the industries, manufacturing and also consumers, and also like internet companies, and also P2P as well. So basically all of them. You can see like in India, like the top 10 internet companies and the popular apps, half of them are Chinese companies.
Right.
That's why now like India is focused on this, and then they banned the 59 apps recently, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute. So then if we're looking at companies that are going to India, are there any capacity problems or infrastructure problems? So whether it's in China, whether it's manufacturing experience, or whether it's for other industries, it's logistics, supply chain, everything is so digital here, everything is very, very efficient. India, of course, is maybe a little bit earlier on in sort of the development phase that it's in, and the physical infrastructure and some of the digital infrastructure maybe even. Do you see Chinese companies having to adapt to India, and how are they adapting to, let's say, an economy that's not as developed as China?
I think China is also not like in the beginning is like so transparent or digital, and we also come from that way as well. We already explored that way. That's why when we go to India, the most difficult one won't be this problem. We will deal with it, but we have other problems like language, culture.
Bigger problems to deal with.
Yes. Because we get used to this. We come from the chaos actually. Right. Yeah.
So then it sounds like really the primary driver to go to India is the market. For U.S. multinationals, I'm sure that's still mostly the case as well. I think there are some companies that are going to India just because the costs are lower too. Whether it's because, again, manufacturing labor costs are lower, but also you have all of the outsourced you have R&D, you have the human, the IT infrastructure there.
IT
you have
lands.
the cost of hiring an engineer in India is a fraction of the cost, I think, of hiring an engineer in China. Do you see Chinese companies potentially moving there because the cost to do product development with engineers is less as well?
Actually, regarding the labor cost, actually, for me and for our potential clients, we calculate it, and actually for this part is similar. The cost is similar. Maybe for US people it's much lower, but we can see Chinese people, they're hardworking and very efficient.
Right.
Yeah, very productive. Compare this, and like none of the country can have this kind of labor here. That's why, because the boss they get used to like all the efficient works. That's why they prefer, like, I can pay you more, but
Right.
you can deliver more, right? We give our client the suggestion is not go India for just for the labor cost, because then you will be just like disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been documented too, that the productivity
Yeah.
in China is definitely at a higher order than almost any other place in the world,
Yes.
India or Southeast Asia. That's definitely, it's a reason why some companies are actually resisting the urge to leave China, like you said, even if the labor costs are lower somewhere else.
Yes.
The other reason why companies may not be so quick to leave China is the ecosystem here. I think if you're a company, whether it's manufacturing or IT or whatever kind of industry, you have all of your supply chain that goes with you
Yes.
here, right?
Yes.
So if I'm a company, a Chinese company that wants to move to India because of cost savings or the market, I better make sure that my partners are going with me. How does that problem get addressed?
Yeah, definitely. We can see this because we cannot like just one company go it alone. Yeah, you cannot like existing like that, because like it will cost you more and more and more, because anything you have to ship from China.
Right.
That's the problem here. And also Modi had one initiative, and he said he want to do like electricity products hub. Yeah. So then they will like settle down all the electricity products, and they want to make it all in India. So I think when the world start moving, Shenzhen, some like the accessories, like phone accessories or the electricity, they will have a lot of company will just go there. And India, one city called Gurgaon, near Delhi, it called Indian Shenzhen there. Yeah, they want to make it very big, because as we know, India is a car accessories hub in the world, and now they want to do the electricity, like all the electronic products.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Shenzhen may be willing to finally give up some of that business because they're doing more design work now in Shenzhen for potentially, or
I think not only Shenzhen, China now basically all the industry is updating now.
Yeah.
We want to always do the basic ones, and we will do more like high technology ones, like core technology ones.
So of course Chinese companies will be used to working with Chinese companies and that maybe is another reason why they'd also want some of their partners to move with them to India. But of course they're in India and they're going to have to work with a lot of local partners. They're going to have to hire local staff, local
Sure.
management, I assume, for the most part. Maybe they bring some of the managers over. And then, of course, they're going to have to address the consumer market and so forth. So what are some of the sort of cultural integration challenges you have between, let's say, Chinese company with its own Chinese owners and then setting up a subsidiary in India and hiring local management and dealing with business partners and so forth?
The most difficult one is like I mentioned before, is the labor. The second one is the culture part. Like they have religious things to take care, and they have a lot of family event to go. Yeah, this we have to adapt to that.
Right.
Yeah. But I think when you go anywhere, you have to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, companies coming to China, for example, you
Yeah.
explain to them that basically for the month of January and February, you can't get anything done because Chinese New Year is. I know we had to explain that to some American clients
Yeah.
that when they first came here, and they were just like, "What? Yeah, like don't try and plan to do anything important
Yes,
around
yes.
January and February."
Yeah.
So
But you have Christmas days and
Right.
New Year's days,
So everyone-
and the
yeah.
same
Yeah.
actually. There's a time difference, and another thing actually is the government system.
yeah.
We're not easy to deal with. Is they're not that transparent right now, and all they have some like on the table deal, or like. But we're foreigners. As a foreign company, we're not easy to deal with that.
Right,
Yes.
of course, yeah. No, and certainly that's a challenge in any country as well.
Yes.
India does have a little bit of that reputation. I think it's called the license Raj or something like that. It's where you need a permit for everything, and so you constantly have to deal with the government a lot.
Yeah, but now like some states are like they are more favorable for the companies.
Do you have a particular region that when you're working with clients, you recommend that they set up in, and what are some of the factors that make one part of India, one city in India more attractive than others?
As we know, the Bangalore, the city is full of internet companies. Microsoft are based in Hyderabad and Bangalore. These kind of cities are very transparent and very efficient because all the companies also internet ones. That's why like government system also will be like online and also transparent. But Tamil Nadu is very good for manufacturer companies, more traditional. Yeah,
Okay.
and also I mentioned the Gurgaon, and now it's becoming more like Indian Shenzhen now. Like is all the manufacturing hub there.
Yes, so maybe we can get into that a little bit about sort of you mentioned the ban of some of the apps in India, I guess TikTok and WeChat,
Yes.
and a few of the other ones.
Yes.
And yet some of the Chinese companies have been in India for a while now. Xiaomi is one of the most famous examples, right? And they're the number one smartphone brand, I believe, in India, and from the very beginning, a very successful launch. I remember I read about their launch they cooperated with Flipkart, I think, on their initial launch. What's the secret to their success? And do you think that even companies that have been there for such a long time are under challenging circumstances right now?
For my understanding, Xiaomi company is different from other apps. Xiaomi is a physical phone, smartphone, and it made in India.
Yeah.
It's mostly made in India. But for apps, and most of them they run by Chinese as well. And now they need they need the chance to develop the local ones as well. Indian apps to replace TikTok, WeChat, or like Share It and other e-commerce platform as well, because it's not easy for body to develop the whole country, the manufacture
Right.
so fast. But internet you can pick up faster, much faster than this, right?
Yeah. That's a really interesting point if we think about it, because I've read Xiaomi in India, like you said, people actually view Xiaomi as an Indian company.
Yes.
Of course, by the name, you might catch pretty quickly that it's not Indian, it's
Yes.
Chinese. But
Yes.
the feeling about the brand and the company is that it's so integrated into the local economy and society, I guess, that it feels like an Indian company.
Yes.
What got them to that level where people in India view them actually as an Indian company?
From my understanding, is Xiaomi is run by the Indian CEO. So in the beginning, actually, it's not Chinese team running Xiaomi in India.
Right.
That's how they make it so localization.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they will know like what kind of product can be survive in India. So like in short time, 6 years, they can make it like booming so fast. I think this is depends on the team, because it's not run by Chinese. That's the secret of success, maybe.
But can most Chinese companies do that? Can most Chinese companies localize their management team that quickly?
We wish we can do that, but all the partners is not that easy to have, because like TikTok and others, we also have Indian team and partners, and also maybe vice CEO or like manager, but it's not easy for us to find the right partner to run anything for us. No mention like have to be the CEO, the head
Right.
of the one so big market there. Just like you when you find your partner in your life, it's not
Right.
that easy. Maybe some people like have to divorce several times to get the right one,
Right.
right? So I think just Xiaomi is very lucky to get the Indian CEO there in the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's doing quite good job.
Yeah, there's a great, I'll plug another podcast. There's a great GGV. GGV is a VC fund. They have a podcast that tells the story because GGV invested in Xiaomi. The venture capital fund invested in
Yes.
Xiaomi. They have a podcast about that story, about his story. You also mentioned newer companies with apps like WeChat and TikTok were banned, but they also didn't have as much invested in India because they're apps, perhaps. They're not physical products like Xiaomi. In the US, TikTok obviously has been trying to localize as fast as they
Yes.
can, and they hired Kevin Mayer, the former executive at Disney, to be their CEO. And yet we've seen TikTok run into problems in India and now the US. And so I wonder, does that localization have its limits, right? So in India, TikTok isn't seen as a Indian company. And you think that's because they just haven't been invested enough yet, or do you think there's something else going on?
I think it's mostly because TikTok is different from other maybe consumer products or others, because TikTok is for like, or everybody can share any content on that, so it's more sensitive things. So it will be not that easy for a foreign company to deal with so much things
Right.
in a foreign country, because maybe you will touch somebody's interest you never know.
Right.
Yeah. The most problem is not about the team is not strong enough, or the PR team is not strong enough, or technology, because technology will be the easiest part in this product.
Right.
Yes.
So, from my perspective, as someone who's watched China-U.S. relations a long time now, it feels like the tension in the relationship and also some of the difficulties that Chinese companies have had going to the U.S. and entering and being in the market there, that those difficulties people started to see even from a few years ago as a potential problem. And I feel like as an amateur India watcher, this tension in the relationship, of course, some of it was there, but to the point where it's affecting business, I feel like that tension is new and fast, and the impact is being felt very quickly. What I'm curious about is, first, do you agree with that? And also, how are Chinese companies dealing with this new tension in the relationship, and are they taking an approach that it's going to be over with quickly because it came on so quickly, or are they planning for more of a longer term strategy?
Okay, firstly, actually, Sino-India, we have our problems,
Sure.
always like the border problem. That's why, like I mentioned, the Indian market for Chinese company still entrance level because of the problems. Chinese, we have a saying, like India is a big fish for a cat, but the cat cannot eat the fish because of this kind of problem. So the political problems or policy problems not new for Chinese companies, but we didn't expect it becomes so intense or happened so fast. But we understand after the virus, all the things, domestic problem also come out a lot. That's why we understand all the policy change so fast, and all the uncertainties comes. We not only preparing for Indian market, we have to prepare for US, Europe, and other countries as well. So we will be prepared more before we head into any market. But definitely the companies going global is the future.
So we talked a lot about culture. How about language? And language is a big part of culture. I wonder, what's the language like in the interactions between Chinese management and local India management? Do they use English? Do they use Chinese? Do they use a mix of both? How do people communicate across borders?
Most of us are using English, because English also for Chinese people is it's a huge amount of people can speak English, at least can read. And also for Indian there, they also not all of them they're good at spoken English. Some of them they have very strong accent, and we cannot understand. But language is just for communication. Like at least we can understand each other. It will be good. I think it's good enough in commercial world at least, right? Sometimes I tell my clients, India is not one country for you to run a business. It's just like a EU. You can understand one state, just one country in EU.
So you have language, I guess, is dialects, but you also have different development levels within India presenting challenges for companies moving there.
Yeah, for me, I look at that not for like it's challenging. I think this is the beautiful part of the world because we have so diversified cultures, right? We have to respect that, and we have to respect that people have different mindset and they have their own like culture and habit. We cannot just for easier for commercial just like to unify all of them because then like the whole world will be like so boring, right? Yes, then yeah, so that's difficult, but I think every companies can navigate, and at last we will find a solution to do it. We cannot kick all the stones and move all the mountains, but we always can find a way to cross it. We can climb, right?
Right,
Yes.
right. So thank you, Lishuang, for being a guest on our show. It was really a treat to have you on, and I know it's a fascinating conversation and our audience is going to get so much out of it. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for your invitation again, and I'm very happy to share my story here.
Yeah, and we have a tradition here on the show. The show is called Ganbei, which as you know means cheers in Chinese. So we like to first thank our sponsor, Kankan, accounting software for SMEs. Kankan is a faithful sponsor of the show, and we like to also give a little toast to our sponsor. So, Ganbei.
Ganbei.